Okay, hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the Policy and Budget Subcommittee meeting. Today is March 17th. Welcome to the meeting, and we'll pass it over to Monique for roll call.
Yes. Nicole Green,
Aye.
Justin Van Zerber,
Aye.
Lenita Mims.
I am present.
All members are present for quorum.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So please bear with me. This is my first time live, so I'm gonna try to do it the same way on Zoom. So next, want to open it up for any introductions and or announcements from any of our subcommittee members first.
I'm Lenita Mims, East County resident. I don't have any announcements yet.
Okay.
Justin Van Zerber, West County resident, and no announcement.
Okay, and no announcements or anything from me. I'm Nicole Green Chair, and I am a East County resident. Okay.
I'm Monique Tate with the ORJ staff to support CAP.
And I can open it up for the public.
Yes. And we don't, oh, with Crawford. You can introduce yourself.
Introduce yourself.
Oh, do you need something from me?
Introduce yourself. I'm sorry, I
Oh.
remember I'm not on Zoom.
Oh, okay. I'm Crawford
Am I speaking
Carpenter.
loud enough?
Oh, yeah, no, they moved the speaker. That's great. And
Okay.
I'm a member of Central County.
Okay, thank you and welcome. So our first agenda item for today is the approval of our minutes from the February 17th Cabinet Policy and Budget Subcommittee meeting. We'll take a second to review that. It starts on page 4 and ends at 6.
I can make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay. And before we move forward, is there any questions about the previous agenda items at all?
No, I just had one, it says that our next steps is to vote on the 2023 work plan. Is that gonna happen today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So we saved a few items for you because.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have Justin for a motion. Do I have a second?
Can I second it even though I was
Can she-
absent?
Yes, she can.
Okay, I'll second.
Comments?
Go ahead. Any public comments?
Okay.
None.
All right, I'll do a roll call. Nicole Green,
Aye.
Justin Van Zerber,
Aye.
Lenita Mims.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. All right. So our next item, so the next, on our last meeting, we were talking about our work plan, which we'll get to a little bit later in our agenda. And we wanted to take a look at the Programs and Services 2022 survey because the results from that is what led on to our recommendations. So we thought it'd be a good idea to look at that and then discuss it as a committee. So it's going to be included in this one. That starts on page 7. Different when, one moment, it's different when you're not scrolling. Is it,
Yeah, there's like a summary on page 7,
attachment 2, see pages.
and then it starts on page 8, I think. There you go.
Oh, okay.
I think you're like flip backwards.
Oh, yeah, okay, so it's me. I need one of y'all back. I'm like, what is going on? Okay, so let's go ahead and start there. Thank you for that. So we can go ahead and take a glance at it and look through it and see if there's anything that, and we can always come back to this again. It's a lot to kind of review. And if we need, Monique, So Firmina, if we need anyone to explain the survey, we can have someone from RJ explain the results, like the data team.
I can help you to the best of my ability today, but yeah, we definitely can have someone follow up with any questions you have, which I'll make sure I note.
Was this shared with CCCP or was this just like used to guide our recommendation?
It likely was shared. I would have to go back and check their agendas, but we usually do share it with them. And, but I can go back and check that to verify. That's a good question.
I think reading through this, I mean, obviously the summary encompasses a lot of what was highlighted here. One of the things that stood out to me also was like transportation. Because our county is so large, like the inability for staff to get to individuals as well as individuals to get to county offices and resources. So really making sure that there's a diverse array of opportunities across different parts of the county. So people don't have to travel all the way across the county to get housing or.
Right. And where'd you see that? So that's a good question. I know majority of the programs have that allocated. They should have it. Well, hopefully they have it allocated in there. Budget where staff should.
Page 7, number 5. Oh, page 15, sorry.
I'm gonna say, you know what threw me off?
Yeah.
And I'm going, wait. Okay.
Page 15, it's page 7 of the survey. But I think that just like triggered a thought in my mind.
Oh, I love it.
Go ahead.
I was reading the report and I was like, okay, but where is the family that's gonna support the person that's coming home? And I finally found one of the answers on page 14 or 6. And number 4, the third comment, it says the most critical area of for individuals returning to the community to rebuilding bonds with the family and the community. I think we need to highlight that at some point. That's a good one. I know housing is always at the top of everybody's list. Mental health.
And substance abuse.
Mhm.
And as you can see with most of the responses, that's the main things reference to our recommendations, housing, mental health, employment is highlighted.
Yeah.
Family support is number 1, and it always returns back to those key things, which that's why I'm excited that we're looking at them.
Mhm.
And as we break down those recommendations, we can see where that area fits, where that need is more, like from the housing perspective,
Mhm.
where can it be more added to support the family? Because I do know there isn't a lot of support there is for that one individual.
Right.
Same thing with employment or even other programs that are out here that are
Right.
being funded. How do we link in the family like ahead of time to make sure that
Yep.
they have support before they get out?
Right.
So those are different things we can look at as we, review the budget and break it down and kind of figure out where monies can be allocated. That's really the goal. I'm excited about this year because that was really the goal. It was to take their recommendations and now work as a group and go, okay, as we collect more data, where can we recommend
Okay.
monies to be moved around and the why and get more feedback
Okay.
from the providers. So
Okay.
I was excited about the responses last year because they're actually what drove us to push harder for those main 3 recommendations going into this year.
Okay.
So this year is just like a lot more. This year was a lot more work, and now it's time to collect data to go with our
Yeah.
our recommendations.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because I see housing I know housing is a challenge,
Mhm.
but I also know that a lot of people that have released within the last 60 days are going home to family members.
Mhm.
Because I don't know if you guys know or not, but one of the things that's happening now is for people who have been incarcerated for longer periods of time, like 20 plus,
Mhm.
they're not doing as much transitional housing anymore.
Right,
They're sending them home.
right.
And so, a couple of the people that I have talked to have said, I wasn't prepared for him, or I wasn't prepared for her to return.
Right.
And so I think us getting ahead of that, trying to figure out how we get ahead of that, to start building some of the relationships before release happens, could be like a benefit to the person that's returning.
I think number one is really, you made a lot of good points, and as you was talking, my wheels was turning, because outside of here, I work a lot of stuff. I'm like, it's really working with like the, our outreach committee and other committees as
Mhm.
well as how do we get, because it's there. So everything the good thing is everything's actually there, but how do you get that information so someone knows to do when they walk out?
Right.
How do they know who to connect to? I'm really big on services getting done before they get there. How do they
Yeah.
get connected? I know there's some, I may not be ready for them, but I know you come home sooner or later. So if you
Right.
can start working with me and talking to you
Right.
honestly to get us prepared for you to come out.
Right.
And those are things that I agree with. I think that people are missing. Family is not prepared, and there is assistance for them, but everything happens too late. So, I mean, those are, as we are talk to other programs, and we'll loop you in later on, we'll be talking about.
Okay, okay.
Those are things that we can ask about. So, our goals is to talk to, out here at least, those programs that do like the housing and behavioral
Yeah.
health. And not just reentry, it's the hubs, right? So it's
Right.
coordinated entry, because
Right.
it's more than just reentry. So we got
Right.
also, what I've told folks is you got to think more just reentry now, because depending on the person, yes, you have a background, but you may have mental health, you may have substance abuse, whatever
Yeah.
it may be, there's other avenues you can go to get assistance. So
Okay.
now it's speaking to the larger realm and getting, how do we connect the dots?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
make
yeah.
recommendations.
Yeah.
So,
And I know a lot of families out here don't know
Uh-huh.
about resources, because they calling me.
yeah, no.
Okay. So I'm interested in that conversation.
So,
Got my interest. I even wrote it right here, suggest family engagement services. So, okay. Yeah, this is good.
When you went through the survey last year, is there anything now looking back through it that you wish you would have asked or like had gone deeper into? And I know that's part of the program's analysis, but just
Right.
curious from your perspective.
honestly, no, I was really excited about 2022 and the work that CAB did, because I felt like we actually took, honestly, a step forward. A
Yeah.
lot, and what I mean by that is, by all this work that was done with the previous folks and last year individuals, I felt like we went to CCP with a good motto. And this year, we actually want to go in and go, we know where the change is,
Yeah.
based on what we're hearing from the survey and outside providers. And now we have, how can I say it? A starting stone, where before, I don't want to say it wasn't spinning wheels, we constantly were talking about it, but it wasn't that movement, and I'm excited to actually move it. So I think 2022, in my opinion, was great,
Mhm.
and that's what
I
made me
agree.
excited about 2023, because now it's data, and what I foresee in 2024 is, okay, now it's change.
Yeah.
You know, so, last year, I think they did an awesome job, in focusing on the key parts, because we talked about this for a while. So, no, there's nothing the only thing that I wanted to add, no, I take that back, is but Crawford did get it added into the recommendation for CCP is looking into pre-release services.
Okay.
That's not in, you see maybe some parts that they talked about it, but it wasn't really in dead in there, and we added that in our conversation with CCP in reference to allocating that extra funding that they had
Mm,
for pre-release services. So that's something that hasn't really, you hear about it, but wasn't really talked about as much.
okay. And are any of the agencies that were surveyed here doing pre-release, or is that?
Well, one of the programs are no longer being funded by RRJ. They were, which was Sheltering, but now the funding is with Laos.
Okay.
So right now there are some programs that actually do go into custody and talk to individuals, like
Yeah.
the Reentry Success Center, excuse me, Rubicon, Men and Women of Purpose, Center Force, AOD is inside. They're all inside already, but it's not really, it's talking to them, but it's
Yeah.
still missing that, let me get you enrolled before you get out.
Yeah.
So they still have to get enrolled after the fact,
Yeah.
even though they're starting. And Men and Women of Purpose does go in and do mentoring. So RJ has a lot of programs with a lot of resources. It's now just time for us to figure out where the gaps are and get them all connected. And I always say it's time for change, how to make things better.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
That's great.
Any public comment? Nothing, Crawford. So I think we should, okay, look at this more. I mean, I want to continue to add documents in here, that's going to help us at the end, put the budgets together. I'm really excited about working with you all to do that, so that we can know what we want to do.
Right.
Right there. But if there's anything, I mean, you two give us a, I know you was here with us last year, but it gives us a fresh set of eyes, right? So
Yeah.
if there's something else that maybe you see that we can, definitely add it back or bring it back to our next one too and talk about it. But at least we have it here.
Okay, great.
A great document.
Jill has joined the meeting.
Morning, Jill.
Hi there, sorry I was late. I had something that went well just now.
That's okay. Any other questions? If you all agree, I think we should, sometimes we take documents off afterwards to kind of look through. We
Mhm.
can definitely put it back on it later and just come back and see if there was anything that we may have caught after the
Okay.
meeting and then go from there.
Great.
Yep.
Okay, so, item number 5 is the county staff meeting. I'm very excited about these documents because Crawford helped me. So Lena, you wasn't here last meeting, and we'll explain to you what this section is in the work group. I'm really excited about it.
Okay.
With his addition, we were able to add it to our work group. So based on those recommendations, we thought, why not reach out to those providers and let them know what feedback came from the surveys and what our recommendations are, regardless if they take them or not, but have that conversation with them and get an idea directly from them. For example, the housing, which is coordinated entry, right?
Mhm.
Behavioral health, the employment piece of it,
Right.
which is Charles. Start talking to them and saying, hey, from the survey, here's what CAB got back.
Okay.
What do you think, and things of that nature. So what I proposed is we come up with a document the same way that we have for I'm really bad with my memory. What is that thing called, Monique, that we do?
Ambassadors program.
Same way like the ambassador program to
Okay.
kind of leave, because some of us will be leaving, right? So kind of leave an outline for you all to be able to pick up for next year of what we did. So it's easier for others that come along.
Mhm.
So Crawford helped me put together some documents that we can use. I will be putting the documents together, but I don't want to do it with myself. I want to be able to talk to you two, get your feedback on what we want to add, what we want to take away, and how we want to do it. So there's several documents in here. It starts on page 23. The first part is the CAB policy and budget county staff meeting guideline. So the guideline will cover kind of like the bachelor thing, what our goal is, all the pieces that's involved
Mhm.
for this, to leave it as a packet for the next individuals or for yourself, that if you decide to stay at this next year, and where you can pick up. So let's kind of look through these documents. What I ask is today, we'll just kind of look through it. If anything stands out, we can talk about it. I do want it to be a takeaway as well. I would like to add it to our next agenda, and I really want to get like your input on it. And then whatever we come up with, I'll type it up and share it amongst the team.
Ooh.
So the first one on page 24 is going to be our point of contacts. That we'll get from Monique and Jill, right? Okay.
Definitely update that information for you.
Okay.
Did you say?
And
that-
forgive me, because I'm reading, so if any of you guys see someone hands up, if you can let me know. And
I think Jill is trying to make a comment.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Jill.
No, I was just gonna say, I sent an email to those individuals and CC'd Monique on them, and I just wanted to make sure she had them.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but I will check my email, make note of that, okay? Thank you, Jill.
Been out of town when I sent it, so look back to that period, but I sent it to Christy Saxton, which is the director of H3, Marla Stewart, who's the director of BHSD, and I think I might have included Suzanne Tavano on there too for behavioral health, and I CC'd you on it.
Okay, I'll check that email and I'll update it for CAP.
So we have another section down there. So we focused on first of course, our 3 recommendations, housing, employment, behavioral health. But if there's any others that we can come up with, we want to include them on here too. So it's kind of like what you said, there's something on the survey that stick out that may go, aha, I want to talk to them,
Right.
add it.
Okay.
Okay. The next one will be a sample contact email. So Crawford did really good with putting this together. A lot of the put it together for our other call that we have, and I thought it'd be great if we just had a like an email, like everything just kind of mirrored itself. Our email, the language, what we're talking about, so that we're all on the same page when it actually goes out. So we'll put together, here's an example of a email. We can change it. I'll make some adjustments to it. If there's anything that stands out or we want to add more, we can definitely do that.
I have a question. I thought we weren't able to do this because of the Brown Act, because if 2 of us are together, we have quorum.
So it would be, I believe it was like, it'll be well, each individually have to contact someone, right? Yeah, it'll be an individual.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or you can send it to me. This is Monique. You could send it to me and then I can just blind copy you all and share it. Any
Well, when
changes?
we actually host the meeting,
It'll be
do an
mine.
individual.
So we'll have to decide on who's going to do the call with who,
Okay.
because we're such a small group. So we'll
Okay.
have to look at it from an individual
Right.
standpoint.
Thank you.
Question, because I forgot about that.
Now, is this group designed to stay small, or is this group, can this group grow?
It can grow.
Okay.
We just have to get people to want, I think when they hear
Want it.
policy and budget, they go that way. So it's just like, it's fun here.
Yeah.
Um, anything stand out with the sample contact email?
No, I think
No.
great.
We also included a policy and budget effective meeting. So just giving us some guidelines. I can tell
Yes.
you that it really, my first one I did, it was fun because I learned my first year, but the second year Crawford actually helped me put talking points together. And that really helped me stay on task, know what I'm talking about. We're all talking about the same thing, looking for the same questions and asking the same questions and coming back with information. So I thought it would be, I wanted to follow that same type of technique because it was just really helpful
Mhm.
for me. So I just wanted to bring it to the table and see if it was, if it would be helpful for you all. We can keep it here. Would you like that? Would it be helpful for you to have something like that to,
Definitely.
okay.
Yeah, I like this. I'm all about effectiveness, so I like this.
Do you think that we should do that kind of as a group in one of our meetings so that we're all aligned?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once we get this actually outlined and put together, let's talk about it. What you mean?
Mhm.
I mean,
Said
Can
him.
I-
yeah. Well, I mean, isn't that what we would have to fill out?
Yes.
Okay.
I think Crawford has a comment.
Go ahead,
may I-
Crawford.
Yeah, may I comment on, in consideration
please.
of the Brown Act? I'm so glad somebody mentioned that. With the committee, the size that it is, we should take out the word "to" and just say the interviewer/ers,
Okay.
so that we, don't, even touch on violating that Brown Act. And that's probably a great suggestion if you could interview the people during, if they would consent to it, one of your meetings, carve
Oh,
out some time.
Can do that too. Let me write that down so I don't forget. We did talk about that. Let me.
Yeah, okay, all right. Sorry to interrupt.
No. You brought that up with the last meeting, so I greatly appreciate that. I totally forgot about that option, so I'm just going to write it down so I don't forget. So we have that option to offer to come to a meeting. And that way it's recorded, so we have something to go back to, in reference to their responses if we, can't write it down as quickly.
yeah. No, that's great. Yeah, maybe so we just update this email template so it includes. I would like to set up a meeting and or invite you to
Mhm.
one of our regularly scheduled.
I'm on page 27
Okay.
in the policy and budget effective meetings. On the last bullet, it says most important, don't be negative.
Mhm.
Is there another way we can say that? Like not but it like in an inclusive kind of way?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
So these documents are not set in stone.
Okay.
Again, I want y'all feedback on it. So if you feel like
Okay.
something can be said better, or even if you want to add a bullet, I want it to be something that we agree on together.
Okay.
These are just documents that Crawford helped me take from the other one and go, here's a template. So these are
Okay.
templates for us to mark up, change, flip it around. And then once we have that data, I can put it all together. Monique, are we able to do like we did with the work plan? Like if they take it away from this meeting and make some markup, send it to you and then.
We can definitely, yes, modify it. Mhm.
Do you want us to do that with the bullet points that aren't filled in, or do we want to do that as a collective group?
So if you do it as a collective group, this is Monique, you would do it at a public meeting like you're doing right now, right?
Okay,
But if you do it individually, you could send it to me and then I can make the suggestion and then send it to you all and blind copy you.
okay. So, I mean, either way is better for me. What I would probably recommend is that would just be like one of our main items for that particular meeting and we just go
Yeah.
through it. So
And work on it.
our April meeting can be totally focused on getting this knocked out the way if we like,
I like that.
and
I
that'll
do
be
too.
better. Okay, we can do
Yeah.
that.
So we
Okay.
can put it on the agenda.
But and so in the meantime, it gives you something to walk away with.
Yeah, to start thinking of, yeah, to start thinking.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
if we have time to look at it,
Yeah.
because I definitely have to walk away and go through each section again, but I think that'll be great for us to come because time does get away from you and then let's see, you know, so I, write that down, so we can do that with our next, I'm open.
We have a goal of when we're trying to meet with these people. Like a goal timeline. I guess.
So we can get this, it's a good question, so we need to have, and correct me if I'm wrong, Monique, so I know we needed to have our, I believe what do I work now? What a timeline that we had.
It's the last page.
So our timeline for our, is through July and October, so to get this done before July. So like to have to start working on getting that, the budget and stuff in place.
Okay.
And working on those documents, so I think it'd be crucial for us to try to have those conversations ahead of time, because it's gonna drive where we're deciding the budget recommendation, excuse me.
If we get this done next month, we could send out emails for May and June.
Yep.
Great.
Does that sound like a good timeline?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to write that. At the bottom.
That's good to me. I'm trying to take notes and all at the same time.
I'm trying to figure where we wrote it on.
I have a question.
Yes.
So Anita, did you have a suggestion for that last bullet that says most important? Did you have a suggestion for a word or phrase? Because I understand what you're saying,
Mhm.
because the first bullet, it says be punctual, polite, professional, personable, and engaging.
Right,
That's being positive, right?
yes.
So at the very bottom, the most important should be, you want to rephrase that. Did you have a term that you wanted to rephrase it?
I haven't thought of one yet, but I am thinking of it.
Okay.
But I don't have one off the top of my head, but I looked at the same thing. I looked at the second bullet, be punctual, polite, professional, personal, and engaging. And then I got down to the last one and I was like, okay, we got to keep it in that same,
Right,
on that same kind of swing. So, most importantly, maybe have fun or, be proactive or
You can stay positive.
stay, yeah. So I don't have a suggestion at this moment, but I will have one.
Okay.
Come up with one.
We'll keep all those in mind.
Okay.
Like stay positive or what you just said, Lanita, we'll just keep that in mind. Like to change, so like to change that last thing is what's most important.
okay, and then page 28 is talking points, so as a group, we'll come up with what is our main focus, our talking. We'll outline that and bullet point it. And then we're gonna have a talk narrative. This really helped, and we use this for other calls. So just for me, it helped me stay on task. And as I was making notes, talking to the individual, I was able to make sure that I covered everything I needed. So it kind of started from the beginning to the end. So we can look at it. If it's helpful to you, great. But I know just having that outline of what the conversation should be about, where the areas that we're looking for, was really helpful for myself. So we can, read through the talking narrative, decide if there's going to be things to add, take away. We decided, and I didn't make any changes, Crawford, but I decided to lead with the recommendation. We left a lot of our talking points from when we did our CCP recommendation, because it's still focused on our initial recommendations.
And this is Monique again. Just keep in mind, if there are any typos, I will fix them.
It is okay, because I didn't get that far either, Monique. So I'm like, it's a different way.
Yeah.
But
Hey,
I keep
Monique,
wanting
might
to.
you scroll so Jill and I can see what's on the screen there? So you get in,
The next page.
we're in sync with.
I gotta remember to look up.
Nicole. There we go. All right.
So we could take a moment to kind of read through this.
Did you ultimately end up focusing in on new recommendations?
Yes.
So maybe we like reframe that section where it's like last year we focused in on these three, but received data and feedback on these six. Does this align with your department?
Okay.
We want to share what we did, right?
Correct.
Or what the recommendation was.
So there are going to be changes to this. Again, I'm be honest, I did not go through here and make any change because I wanted to bring it to y'all.
Yeah.
So there's definitely going to be things that we have to rewrite, tailor it more to our conversation, and change it around, because the way it was written was really how we spoke about it to CCP. So we will have to make some adjustments in here.
Okay.
And then we can spend that time on our next meeting and really fine tune, go through every single thing.
Oh, I see it now. Okay, so we don't have to make changes because it goes on the bottom of or top of page 33. Says our first area of focus is number 1, and then our second is number 5, and our last is number 6. So I guess it does what.
So I think our goal is from on page 30, where we wanted to outline what all of the, the recommendations were, and then our second part, then we'll focus on, but these are the main 3.
Got it.
But again, we can shorten some of the conversation. It doesn't have to go.
Or maybe not even like
this.
I mean, the conversation, I think the flow of the conversation is great because you're talking about the work CAB does, then you're talking about the data that you received, then you're talking about the recommendations you made. So I think I align with all of that.
Okay.
Maybe we could make like a 1-pager or like a document that we could just give to them that shows them the recommendation. So we're not like reading it to them and they can like consume it on their own, or is this something we share?
I was going to ask, are we able to do that? To give, so if we invite them to a call, they'll have the agenda. But if we were to do an individual call off of our committee meeting, are we able to give them a document that shows the recommendations on it?
This is Monique. So the recommendations that CAP presented,
Yes.
public documents. So yes, you can share it with the person you're interviewing. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I know when I'm always in a meeting, I like to like consume something while I'm having dialogue.
So, this is Monique again. I would suggest that once you set up an appointment with someone, whether it be in person or virtual, I don't know if that's been established yet, but the appointment, you could, once you confirm it, you could send them some information ahead of time. That's what I hear them saying.
Right.
Yeah.
So that they will be able to have read the information prior to your interview.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And that'll be easy to do. Okay. Go ahead and scroll to the next page. Is there any questions from the public at all?
I like how we laid out the pillars.
I do too. One thing I would consider adding as well is, so at the beginning, we, on page 31, we asked them a question about their office helping us achieve these pillars, which I think is really great because you get buy-in from that department.
Mhm.
But then I don't think we do that with regard to the recommendations. And so maybe that's something we consider adding towards the end. Is like an overarching question about, does the priorities or the recommendations that CAB provided align with your priorities within your department?
Or, because our goal is really to talk to them about, right, the recommendations that came from the survey,
Yeah,
right? So maybe also asking them a question, do they see these, do they see that they're able to make these changes, or if this feedback from that survey can help them make something of that nature,
yeah,
align with the responses from the survey? Let me think. We should ask a question at the end though, tied to that, because the whole goal is for us to, we really want their feedback, right?
Yeah.
About the program. We want to talk, give them information about the survey, what people are saying, the need is, housing, whatever, behavioral health, dealing with mental health, co-occurring disorders. And figure out from them if they feel like there's areas within their program that they can better, I don't know, adjust or enhance, but giving that feedback to them.
or
I would
even
also
asking,
like, go ahead.
You good.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, or even asking like, are there areas within your budget that there are gaps
Yep.
that our organization or our committee can make a recommendation to help fill based on these recommendations?
Hmm,
I like that. Okay.
hmm.
Yeah, that was a good one. Should probably be taking notes. Huh?
It's funny, I take notes and then we. I really like that one.
Because that's what we're trying to do, right? Is
That's
we're
our
trying to
overall goal.
empower them through their budget, right?
Correct.
I love all this language though. This is, I don't know who drafted this. This is great.
Crawford, I have to give credit.
Thank you, Crawford.
Yes, you can keep scrolling. Neat.
Yeah, that's great.
So any other questions? Or I appreciate the conversation, a lot of great feedback. I'm excited to really dig in this with you all. If you have time to look at it beforehand, that's great. If not, we'll spend time and just really go page by page and fill this out. Is there any comments or questions from the public? No? Okay, seeing none. So this will be, we'll add this to our next call. Okay.
This is Monique. If you have any updates, just send them to me and I can add it to the document.
Okay.
At your next meeting, if you'd like it to be added to your agenda.
Okay. So some things like what you just mentioned, those, if you come up with different, like how you want to change the wording or make the questions so that we don't forget it by the time we have our next call, because I know me, I will. Those are things we can only know to kind of put there beforehand. If you have time to do so, if not, you take note, if you took notes, then we just talk about it on the next one. Okay. There's no additional questions or any public comment, we can move over to agenda item number 6, which is finalizing our 2020 work plan. It's attachment 4, page 42. I was really excited about the work that we did on our last call, to kind of just bring you up to speed. The call before that, we talked about Monique sending this out and it's all giving ideas and recommendations, send that back to her. So our last call, that's what we did. We looked at all of our feedback and kind of grouped it into one here. So our goal today is to finalize this and vote on it, right? Yeah, vote on it.
Okay.
And then have our work plan and our goals for this year. So starting with number 1, which was the key action steps, the areas that we updated was the expected outcomes. We didn't make any changes to the action steps. I don't think we did. No. So we in reference to the outcomes, we just made a few changes on how the verbiage was. You can go ahead and review over that. Let's see here. We did at the bottom. Identified, go ahead.
Add something, this is Monique again. And Nicole, I keep identifying myself just for the public to know who's speaking. So I did incorporate the changes that were made from you and Justin last month.
Right.
So the goal, like you said, is to review it, make any additional changes if Lenita would like to, and then vote on it. So, okay.
So we can take a second to review this. That item that we're talking about now, Anita, in reference to reaching out to the programs, is at the very end on page 43. You can scroll down up to the next one. And it's include best practices for the balance of unspent funds rolling over the next fiscal year. And that's where we added that item, meet with county staff, meet with Pacific departments to share last year's survey results to help fill gap services to align with the recommendations of CAP. We were supposed to add a timeline, which we just discussed, which would be May through June, right? So we can change the to be determined from May to June.
Okay.
And I'll give you a second to kind of look over and see if you have any questions regarding the changes that we made. Oh, wait, we put, if you notice in the responsibility column, we kind of put all, because there's only 3 of us, right? And then for the one, for the programs and services, we put your name there, but as we discussed, we all can kind of piggyback when we need to.
Okay.
Joe, the RJOB is still on hold, right?
I was gonna ask.
Yes.
We on the same page.
No, it's actually, all of those members got appointed at the end of February, the new members. And at this point in time, Patrice just said yesterday that she's just trying to find a mutually convenient date for their meeting. It's a large group, so it's challenging.
We can remove the on hold.
Mhm.
And we'll just see when Justin comes back, but maybe for responsible, we can put all until we know when it starts. Are we able to do that, Monique? Like,
Yes, we could definitely keep it as all.
Okay.
And what about the ongoing? So did you, when Justin comes back, you'll determine when it'll.
yeah.
I'm going next. Oh, you guys are reading my mind today. You're making it real simple. Okay, and then we have one, the July through October.
Yes.
Is that one gonna stay July through October?
Yes, because
Okay.
we have to have the budget and stuff in place by November. Patrice really helped with that a lot. So she helps she really helped last year. She put the document together.
Mhm.
So more of it from our standpoint is telling her the recommendations, like we recommend that this amount of funds be allocated over here for what and why, but she helped put those documents together.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so for that goal 1, Justin, for the RJOB, so it's not on hold anymore. So there's this pending dates for the meetings, right? So we put responsibility for all, and then we got to decide on the timeline. I would recommend keep it as ongoing, but I'll take you guys' feedback.
Well, can we keep them all as ongoing and just work on them as they come up? Will they be changed? Will they be like moving pieces where we'll always have to go back to it? Or will it be something that we can just, are these things that we can just check off the list? Are these boxes that we gotta check?
So, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, Jill and Monique. The way I look at this one is the same way as how I looked at the programs and services. I mean, if we miss a call, we can always, can we go back and replay that one? I mean, this week, are we able to replay it if we miss it? The RJOB meeting, is there like a
Recording.
recording?
This is Monique. I think they do record their meetings. Yes, so we could go back and review their recording.
And I think in the general meeting,
Mhm.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I signed up to be that person.
It's a good question.
And those meetings
No, look,
quarterly, just so you know, those meetings are quarterly, the RGOB full meetings. The subcommittees meet monthly and they report to the full, so you have all the information you need from subcommittees at those full RJOB meetings.
is there anyone that we can confirm that? If
No,
No, you can't.
not right now, this Monique, not right now, but I can.
Okay.
So like on the first one, right? For goal one, the first box. The timeline is ongoing. The responsibility relies on all of us. But the first box, it says review research and data findings on where inequities may exist in criminal justice system for specific demographics such as race, ethnicity, gender identity, ability, mental health. That's something that can be ongoing,
Right.
right? So do we want to change that to not be ongoing? Or we want to keep it as ongoing?
So it's kind of an ongoing thing because we're reviewing the
Right.
survey. So that's like one of the main things because we're, and hopefully I'm saying it correctly, entwined with like programs and services, right? So it's really the data that we're collecting from the surveys. So it's kind of like an ongoing thing
Right.
for the whole year.
Okay,
There really isn't
like a stop.
like a stop. Yeah, there isn't
Yeah.
a stop period for it.
So I think that's what I was asking, like,
Okay.
that, I think that should just stay ongoing like it is. Number two is kind of the same thing. Well, the third box is kind of the same thing, like identify the gaps in Coco County's criminal justice system. Like, that's kind of like an ongoing thing too,
Right.
right? So it would stay, hopefully it could stay ongoing.
How about the outcomes? Do you agree with the changes
Okay, let me
that we
look at
added?
the outcomes. Yeah, the outcomes are okay.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, the main things that we changed was outcomes, and that was
Okay.
for in goal number one, it was the first two sections.
mhm.
We added changes there. I know in goal two, ongoing monitoring, we should have highlighted the changes in another color.
Yes, this Monique, I didn't include the changes because we had them like in yellow or something.
Yeah.
I just incorporated them.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, review it.
I think that's a
Okay,
good
I
thing,
can-
right? We
Mhm.
I
can,
can see how that can,
Right. We did good, huh?
I can see a timeline there for that. All right, let's see.
This is something we could always amend, right?
yes. So this is Monique again. So like, Lenita just made a suggestion to change, the last one. Goal 2, she said, include best practices for the balance of unspent funds rolling over to the next year, and the timeline, as you all discussed today, instead of saying to be determined, it's gonna be made through June. So
Right.
I'm gonna obviously change that and make it a new document. However, for the purpose of today, if you all agree on the final changes that are made now,
Mhm.
what you could still vote on what you agree upon today,
Okay.
and then we just stay voting on, like, if that were the only change, we're voting on the updated or amended work plan with the including goal 2, the last bullet, and we're gonna change to be determined to May through June. You know what I'm saying? We can just make those distinctions.
Okay.
Or you could just carry it over to next month and then.
Yeah, let's not carry any
Oh,
over.
no.
We can get it done. Let's get it done.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
So
but I think it looks good. I think I've read the entire thing. I like the
Okay.
changes. I think it looks good. I think it's ready to go.
Okay, so in a nutshell, our goal is just to continue on collecting the data in the format that we are. Join the programs and services, RJOB. I reach out to programs to collect more data. And then start working on, based on that, and the new survey that comes up, and start making those budget recommendations.
Yeah.
So we got a plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got a plan?
So, any public comment? No? Okay, so I guess we can go ahead and vote on it. So,
Got a motion?
is there a certain one supposed to say that? Oh. Do we have a motion? I'm like, I was trying
Make
to
a
add in, I was trying to add in your verbiage, Monique, regarding the change. Permanent.
With the changes, you don't have to specify each change. We can
Okay.
refer to the recording, because I certainly will need to refer to the recording to
Okay.
update it. But you can just say with the changes we discussed.
Okay. So, go ahead and move forward with, the vote to approve our policy and budget work plan for 2023 with the changes that we discussed, and you can definitely review back to the recording to outline those changes. Do I have a motion?
Yep, I would make a motion to review all of the changes. And I'm sorry, I would make a motion to vote on the changes that, and the changes that we made today, to be standing.
And have a second? Okay, so, Nick,
Okay, so I'll do a vote on the finalizing the work plan. So Nicole Green.
aye.
Aye.
And Lenita Mims.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Awesome, okay. Yay, we got our work plan, you guys.
Yes.
I'm excited. All right, so.
Didn't even take that long.
Oh, so our next steps, so our main next step is to really finalize this, to finalize our outline for our county staff meeting, and really get that fine tuned so that we can start, setting up our calls, next month, starting in May. So it'll be, our options are to either have them come to one of our meetings, or to either do a one-on-one. So just getting this document together and coming up with that. Yeah, that's our next item.
Nicole, this is Monique. We have another member who's joined the meeting. I don't know if you want to acknowledge him. John.
And see it.
Hi.
Hi, John Dante, how are you?
I am doing wonderfully.
You're
Thank
doing
you.
wonderful.
How are you
Awesome.
doing?
I'm doing great. So we're just discussing our next steps right now. I mean, also, takeaway is looking back over that survey, especially with a fresh set of eyes that you have, because I'm excited to really get feedback from individuals, with fresh set looking at it. Excited about what we're going to do together with policy and budget, and really just making these recommendations regarding the funding. So that's really our next steps, is looking through this and coming ready and prepared to outline our document and start making those calls and collecting data.
Monique, do you mind sharing those two documents in Word format?
The accounting staff meetings?
Yes.
Yes, I can definitely send it out in Word for you to make your changes.
Yeah.
And the
Number
time is
7.
12:07.
Oh.
She's doing great on time.
Okay.
Before you, after you're done with your next steps, I do need to make an announcement. I should have made it earlier, but I need to make an announcement.
I don't know about that.
A positive announcement.
Okay.
Nowadays, when people make announcements, you never know.
Yeah, we're a little bit way early, right on time. Is there anything else regarding the documents or the committee members want to discuss? Anything that stood out or anything?
I want to say I appreciate you guys for working so hard on the documents in my absence last month. So thank you.
No problem. You were still there. We kept you in mind. I was determined, we were both determined to bring this back for your eyes, so your eyes can bless this paperwork. Not a problem at all. I definitely understand. Any public comment, feedback, questions? No?
Nope.
Yes, Monique.
This is Monique. So I just want to bring it to your attention that I have not updated an amended agenda yet, but where it says the next Public Protection Committee,
Mhm.
I mistakenly put canceled, but that was the March meeting that's canceled. So that is actually still on schedule for April 3rd. And I will eventually upload it at the very bottom.
Oh.
after
Okay.
Meetings.
Mhm.
We have a tentative meeting for PCP on April 7th, and we have the next PPC meeting, which is in fact April 3rd. It has not been canceled. That was the March meeting that was canceled.
Okay.
So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Okay. Let me ask this question. Are you guys, well, we can always refer back to the last meeting. I had Monique remove the documents regarding the budget until we got to that point, but were those kind of clear to you all about what we're going to be working on?
Yep.
Okay, so I don't want to keep over adding a lot of documents to our calls that we're not going to be
Mhm.
looking at it yet. It's
Yeah.
time to go back. Okay,
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure. Okay, so there's no, oh, Jill, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one more thing. So that PPC meeting, all of the meetings that Supervisor Joy and Supervisor Glover are doing are virtual. They have opened up their individual offices to the public, so anybody can zoom in. There won't be anybody in the county administration building for those meetings. You have two choices for in-person or virtual.
Thank you. All right. Any other comments? In this early? Okay.
Great job.
If there's no other comments from the committee or from the public, we will adjourn to our next policy and budget subcommittee meeting on April 21st from 11 to 12:30. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.